it's Kristen, and these are my 2024 goals. So I recently did my 2023 wrap up where I talked about my reading from the year and also how I did on my goals. And it wasn't very well. I really didn't achieve my goals apart from one or two things. And so I was like, I need to rethink my goals. Some I'm going to carry over, some are going to be new goals I really need to reassess. Maybe give myself less to do, like less goals, make them more achievable. I think I've given myself more goals, but I think I've been more specific or more like things that I actually have thought about wanting to do for the past couple of months, where I think last year in 2023 I just sort of went, oh, I think it would be cool to do like this and this and this. This time I think I've actually gone, well, what was I reading last year? What did I enjoy reading? What do I actually want to be reading more of? And so my goals are more focused on things that I've actually been thinking about generally in my life. So here's what they are. So I have my goals written down here. So if I'm looking down here, I'm looking at my goals. First of all, a goal I'm carrying over from last year is to read more books from my physical TBR than I acquire. So I didn't manage to do this last year. I hauled so many more books than I physically read off my TBR. I read a lot of books last year, but a lot of those books were borrowed from my sister, borrowed from the library physically, on audiobook from the library. And so less than half of what I actually read in the year was from my physical TBR. And then I was also hauling a lot. So really this year, my TBR is a bit out of control. So I do need to make sure I'm reading more than I'm bringing in to my house. So that's goal one. So for my second goal, at the end of last year, I pre-ordered a bunch of books. And my aim is to mostly rely on those pre-orders coming throughout the year to satisfy my book buying. So I've already bought those books. They've already been purchased. They're just going to arrive slowly throughout the year. And so I'm thinking that will stop me buying so many books. I'm also not going to be going into charity shops as much this year. I will every now and then, but I'm gonna make sure I don't, because that's where my book buying got out of hand. So within those books I've pre-ordered, because I pre-ordered them means I was excited about them. I want to read those pre-orders as they arrive within 3 months of receiving them. So this month, January, 2 of those pre-orders have already come in because they were January releases. So I need to read those books that arrived in January either in January, February, or March. So by the end of March, I want to have read the books that arrived in January. There's a couple of books arriving at different points in February. So those books I want to have read by April. There's a book arriving, I think, in October, so a long way away, but that book I will want to have read by the end of the year. Because I sort of feel like if I'm prioritising buying these books because they were pre-orders, not just I saw them out and about, but I specifically pre-ordered them because I was very excited about them, I need to read them as soon as possible. And I know that that's not necessarily going to mean they come in and I immediately read them, so that's why I've given myself a 3-month time structure. So yes, any pre-order I get I have to read within 3 months. Then my big goal is to read 50 books. Last year my goal was 40. I read 58, which is very good. Is more than my goal this year. But there are a couple of factors with that, in that I didn't want to go for 60 books because 58 was kind of a shock to me. So I didn't want to go over what I knew I could do. So I know that 50 is achievable because I've done it. But also this year I'm going to prioritise reading my physical books, whereas I know that quite a few of those 58 were audiobooks. So if I'm reading physically, it'll take me longer because I can read an audiobook, depending on how long it is, in a day very easily. But a physical book I can read in a day if it's like less than 300 pages, or if all I do is read, which often isn't the case. So because I'm going to be reading more physically, my goal is 50 books, because I've done it before, but it's still a challenge. Also, you never know how busy you're going to be in the year. I managed 58 last year, but that's not to say that I will have the same time that I did last year. So there we go, 50 books is my goal for the year. My fourth goal is to just finish the 12 in 12 challenge that I started last year. So it was going around a lot. You get 12 friends to pick a book each, and then you read those 12 books, like one a month, or you finish the 12 in the 12 months of the year. I didn't have 12 friends to go to who are interested in picking books. So my sister and her housemate, her friend, had a look at my shelves and picked 12 books. And throughout last year, I read 2 of those books. I started a third but never finished it. And at this point, I'm just going to start it again. So I just want to finish reading those books. Those books that I need to read are The Priory of the Orange Tree, Ready Player One, Inkheart, Paul Takes the Form of a Mortal Girl, Legend Born, Allegiant, The Fifth Season, Places in the Darkness, The Guilty Feminist, and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So those 10 books I want to make sure I get to this year. Hopefully that'll happen. Another goal I'm carrying over is to finish some series. So I said last year I was going to prioritise buying books that finished series and then read those series, and then I really didn't. I was just more excited about picking other things up. But since then, I have bought some continuations of series. I bought some like second and third books in trilogies, so I have like the whole trilogy now. So yeah, I want to finish some series because I have a few series on the go, and I'd like to be done with some. I also started some series last year, so if I can acquire the next, 2, 3, 4, however many books are in the series to finish it, then I can start some more series. I don't want to, having started more series last year, start even more series this year and then just have like 10, 12, 15 series on the go, and just never get around to finishing any. So I need to finish some series. I also want to read more non-fiction off my shelves. I read more non-fiction last year than I realised. In my end of year wrap up, I was kind of surprised by the amount of non-fiction I had read, but a lot of it was from like the library. I think I only read a couple of non-fictions that were actually off my physical TBR, so I would like to read some that have been on my shelves. There's some that have been on my shelves for years at this point, and I keep just not getting around to them for various reasons, so I need to at least read some of them. I also think it's nice to have like a non-fiction book on the go and be educating yourselves, so yeah, that's what I want to do. I also want to read more classics. I used to read classics a lot when I was younger, when I was in like year 11, sixth form, but I was studying English literature, and I was reading it in school, so I was naturally getting through classics that I wouldn't have necessarily picked up myself, or I was discovering classics that I actually enjoyed. And then I sort of fell off and I read maybe like one classic a year now. But I ended last year by reading part 2 of Little Women, which had such a great time with, and it just reminded me, like, why do I not read classics more often? I've been saying I'm going to read Jane Eyre forever and I've not. I bought some classics at the end of 2022 and I never read them in 2023, so I want to get to those, like Cranford, Oscar Wilde stuff. So yeah, I just want to read more classics because I sort of miss doing that. So another goal of mine is to read books that I've had on my TBR for 10 years. The oldest book on my TBR I bought 10 years ago. I found a list of books that I bought while I was at university, which was 10 years ago. I started university in 2013, and so my first year of uni ended in 2014, and I found a list of books that I bought during my first year of uni, from the 2014 side of things. And there are some books on that list that I still own and have not read. So my goal is to read them, because I think anything on my TBR for 10 years has to be read. If anything is on my TBR for longer than 10 years, that's just ridiculous. So 10 years is my limit. If I've not read something within 10 years of having it, like, why do I still have it? You know, and like the excitement for that book has died down, or it's been out for years now, and so like people aren't talking about it anymore. So yeah, 10 years is now my limit. Then some like bookish related but not book goals are to film and edit and upload videos to this channel in like a more timely manner. There's been quite a few readathon vlogs where I've actually posted the video weeks after the readathon, but I haven't wanted to waste that footage. And some of those are because of like technical reasons, like my laptop has suddenly been like, you don't have enough storage, so it can't like finalize the video, which is always really annoying, but like I'll give myself leeway with stuff like that. But other times it's just because like I've been like, oh, I'll edit today, and then I've never got around to it because I've started like watching a new episode of Critical Role, and every episode is like around 4 hours long, and so I'm like, I'll watch an hour and then I'll edit, and then I don't, and I just watch the whole thing and I just never get around to editing. So I need to be better at doing that. But like some things are out of my control. There's also been times when I was like, I'll do a Halloween reading vlog, and then over the time when I've like been planning to do a video, I've ended up being quite ill, or yeah, technical issues, or I've ended up actually being really busy. So with those things, I'm not going to get angry at myself, but if it is just because I couldn't be bothered to edit and upload, like that's annoying, and then I will get annoyed with myself. So I'm gonna try and be better about it. And like within that, I want to upload more consistently. Like so far in January, I've uploaded at least one video a week, if not two, which is really good. But I do that a lot, where I'll upload a lot and then not upload for like 2 months, and then I'll upload like a video a week for 3 weeks, and then I'll not upload for 3 months. So I just want to get better at consistency. So I hope I managed to do that for my sake and yours if you watch these. And then lastly, I want to continue writing the book I was writing. So I think it was 2020 NaNoWriMo. I completed NaNoWriMo. I started writing a book and I wrote over 50,000 words, and I was really proud of myself. And the following year I sort of added to it here and there throughout the year. And then yeah, in 2023 I was like, I've not worked on it for a while, I'm gonna finish it. And then I don't think I wrote at all for that book. I wrote like other stuff for fun, or for like, yeah, things with people I knew, but I didn't write anything for the book I was writing. So I'm not setting my goal to finish it this year, because I think that might have been a factor of me not doing any work on it last year, in that I went, oh god, finishing it, that's a lot, and then I just freaked myself out, and didn't do any work on it. So I'm just gonna say I need to at least continue, even if that just means like reading it through again and trying to fill some gaps, reading it through again and editing what I do have already, and then adding some new things. So yeah, I want to continue writing the book I was writing, because it is, yeah, 4 years in November that I will have written that like first half a book basically. And I don't want it to go too long where I completely forget what I was doing, what my plot was, what message I was trying to get across, or anything like that. So yeah, and I miss writing, so I'm gonna work on that. That is everything. Those are my bookish goals, my channel goals, my writing goals. I'm hoping that I can achieve these. I think even though I have put like structured goals in place, I think these are achievable for me. They're based on what I want to be reading, like non-fiction, classics. They're based on getting books off my physical TBR, which is very important to me. Based on not hauling as many books, which again, important to me. And about getting around to what I'm excited about as it comes into my life, you know. So yeah, those are my goals. Do you have any bookish goals, whether they're reading goals, writing goals, like book buying goals, or restrictions? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!